Welcome, everyone. Today, we dive into an amazing story by artnekopro, The End of Harmony. A huge thanks to them for sharing this epic tale. Let's begin. The wind howled through the empty streets of Ponyville, carrying whispers of a forgotten curse. The tree of harmony stood twisted, its branches gnarled like skeletal fingers reaching for the sky. A lone figure stood before the tree, their laughter echoing in the silence. "I found it," they whispered, their voice dripping with malice. The tree pulsed with a sickly light. Revenge burned in their heart as they clutched the corrupted element. "Twilight and her precious friends will pay," they snarled. The shadows around them writhed in anticipation. The air grew thick with an unnatural stillness. The ground trembled as if something beneath it stirred. A faint cry for help was swallowed by the night. Twilight Sparkle lay trapped, her body racked with pain as pure magic was torn from her. Her screams were muffled by the walls of her confinement. Celestia watched, helpless. The words "The End of Harmony" were scrawled in blood across the town square. Disturbing images flickered in the corners of vision, unseen but felt. In Sweet Apple Acres, the trees groaned as if in pain. A voice called out, weak and strained, "Are you all right?" There was no answer. Apple Bloom stumbled upon her sister, Applejack, her body twisted by unnatural growths. "Shilp SP," she choked, but the words died in her throat. Apple Bloom ran to Big Mac, tears streaming down her face. "What's going on?" she begged, but he could only stare in horror at the monstrosity that was once his sister. The night deepened, and the cries of the infected filled the air. The family huddled together, forbidden from approaching the thing that had taken Applejack. Applejack wandered the orchard, her neck twisted, black blood oozing from her wounds. Roots sprouted from her cutie mark, spreading like a disease. She called for her family, but they didn't answer. The words "The End of Harmony" glowed in the moonlight, a grim reminder of what was lost. The disturbing images grew clearer, more vivid. Rainbow Dash soared through the sky, her laughter bright. "This day is perfect," she declared, but the sky darkened, and her wings faltered. The world felt peaceful, too peaceful. "Is it you, Dash?" a voice whispered. Rainbow turned, but there was no one there. A warning flashed in her mind, disturbing content ahead, but it was too late. The factory loomed before her, its doors creaking open. "Help me!" Rainbow Dash's voice echoed from within the factory. Scuttaloo stood frozen, her heart breaking as she heard her idol's desperate pleas. Scuttaloo was forced to turn away, her tears mixing with the rain. "I can't let you see her," she whispered, though every fiber of her being screamed to help. The factory doors slammed shut, sealing Rainbow Dash inside. Her cries faded into the hum of machinery, a sound that would haunt Scuttaloo forever. The words "The End of Harmony" were carved into the factory walls. The disturbing images now moved, whispering secrets no one wanted to hear. Pinkamena emerged, her eyes vacant. "She comes out more often now," a voice murmured. The cheerful Pinkie Pie was nowhere to be found. "Pinkie, are you okay?" Miss Cake asked, her voice trembling. Pinkie's smile was too wide, her eyes too dark. "Everything is fine," she lied. Celestia searched for the culprit behind the corruption, her heart heavy. "I miss you," she whispered to the shadows, but they didn't answer. Pinkie Pie's body twisted, two personalities warring for control. Her deflated balloon cutie mark mocked her as she remained trapped in Sugar Cube Corner. Fake blood, fake bodies, fake everything. The words "The End of Harmony" dripped from the walls. The disturbing images were now inescapable. A cough echoed in the silence. "I need to finish this quick," a voice muttered, but the task was far from over. A final warning, disturbing content beyond comprehension. The world trembled as the truth began to unravel. "Sweetie, where are you?" Rarity's voice was desperate, but Sweetie Belle was already running, her heart pounding with fear. Sweetie Belle arrived too late. Rarity's body was half consumed by crystals, her cries for help fading into whimpers. "Sister," Sweetie whispered, her voice breaking. Rarity's horn elongated, crystals sprouting from her skin. She sewed them into her dresses, unaware of the blood she lost. The boutique became her tomb. The words "The End of Harmony" were etched into the crystals, the disturbing images now reflected in every shard. Fluttershy trembled, her body changing. "What's going on?" she begged Discord, but even he couldn't stop the transformation. "Help me, Discord," she screamed as bad-like features overtook her. Discord's face fell. "What have you done?" he whispered, but the damage was irreversible. Cadance arrived too late. Twilight's magic was gone, and the Crystal Empire's gates sealed shut. Safety was an illusion. Fluttershy's limbs were amputated, her body infected with chaos magic. Discord tried to cure her, but his efforts only made it worse. The words "The End of Harmony" were whispered by the wind. The disturbing images were now part of reality. The silence was deafening. The world held its breath, waiting for the next horror to unfold. A shadow moved where it shouldn't. The air grew colder, and the faintest sound of weeping could be heard. A scream tore through the night. The voice was cut off abruptly. "Bring it on," a voice challenged, but the enemy was already there. The element of laughter was no longer a comfort. "You hurt my friends," the voice growled. "I'll make you pay," but the fight was already lost. Starlight Glimmer fought Celestia with all her might, but it wasn't enough. Her body turned to stone, her scream frozen in time. Luna released Nightmare Moan, her pain too great to bear. Her task was clear: eternal sleep for the corrupted. The words "the end of harmony" were carved into the stone. The disturbing images were now etched into history. Rarity's body crystallized completely, her wails silenced. Sweetie Belle slept beside her, dreaming of a time before the horror. Rainbow Dash was imprisoned in the factory's heart, her body fused with machinery. Scootaloo visited, but her words fell on deaf ears. Fluttershy's body turned to crystal, her suffering ended. Discord cradled her, his tears falling onto her lifeless form. Starlight was hidden in the labyrinth, her stone body lost to time. Discord ensured no one would ever find her. "I miss you," Celestia whispered to the stars, but they didn't answer. The world was silent. The words "the end of harmony" glowed in the dark, a final testament to the fallen. Celestia searched for a cure, her hope fading. Luna reached into dreams, but the main six were gone. Cadance broke down, her grief unbearable. Shining Armor held her, but even his strength wasn't enough. Discord wandered the labyrinth, his laughter hollow. Zekara had no answers, and Celestia's hope died. The Crusaders mourned, their innocence lost. Bloom, Scoot, and Belle clung to memories, but the past was dead. Flurry Heart visited Twilight's statue, her voice trembling. "Aunt Twilight," she whispered, but the statue remained silent. The words "the end of harmony" were whispered one last time. The disturbing images faded, but the horror remained. Sunset Shimmer received a letter, her hands shaking. "She's alive," she breathed, but the truth was far worse. The world waited, the air thick with dread. Something stirred in the darkness, something ancient. Years passed, but the nightmare didn't end. The world was trapped in an endless cycle of horror. The silence was broken by a single word, "S," the rest was lost to the void. Sunset Shimmer arrived, her heart pounding. "She's alive," she repeated, but the words tasted like ash. "If she is, then everyone is," Sunset realized, but the cost was too high. The wind howled, carrying the final whispers of the damned. The story was over, but the horror lived on. "Thank you," the author whispered, but the words were hollow. The open ending was a curse, not a gift. The trend faded, the sketches forgotten, but the story remained, a haunting reminder of the end of harmony. The disturbing images lingered, etched into the minds of those who dared to remember. The end was only the beginning. That's it for The End of Harmony. Fire huge thanks to artnekopro for this incredible story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.